In America, when something matters, it usually rolls on four wheels, and more often than not, those wheels belong to a pickup truck. They're not just vehicles, they're symbols. They stand for work, grit, self-reliance, and the belief that what you earn with your hands. For decades, they carried lumber, hauled steel beams, pulled horse trailers, and moved families across miles of dusty highways. They were more than tools. They were trusted, and for millions of Americans, they still are. But this year, that trust has been shaken in a way nobody saw coming. Because for the first time in modern history, dealerships across the country began unloading pickup trucks. Ford F-Series, Chevy Silverados, Rams, Sierras, at prices that looked less like discounts and more like desperation. What should have been regular Black Friday deals turned into something darker, a liquidation. Trucks advertised as workhorses just months ago were now being dumped like a burden. And the people who made these vehicles best sellers, contractors, welders, farmers, teachers, small business owners, were left wondering how something so essential could suddenly feel so disposable. But this isn't just about cheap trucks. It's about what happens when America's most trusted vehicles become financial liabilities, when the backbone of small business becomes a debt trap, and when the system behind it all, manufacturers, lenders, credit lines, auctions, starts cracking under pressure. See, the viral headlines screamed about 4 million pickup trucks being dumped for Black Friday. It sounded outrageous, unbelievable, almost cinematic. But once you dig into the real numbers, it gets even more disturbing, because the truth isn't in exaggerated figures. The truth is in one simple fact. It doesn't take 4 million trucks to break the system. It only takes 1 million. If those million are unwanted, unaffordable, and increasingly unpayable, the audits tell the real story. November 2025. National dealer inventories show approximately 564,000 new pickup trucks sitting unsold. Another 452,000 used pickups are stuck in retail lots, waiting for buyers who never show up. Add in transit inventory, repossessed trucks, auction units, and you reach roughly 1.09 million pickups in the U.S. supply chain. Not 4 million, not even close. But the problem isn't how many trucks exist. It's how many are stuck, frozen in place on dealer lots, repo yards, storage fields, railroad terminals, and auction holding areas. Not moving, not selling, not earning. Not for the families who need them, not for the dealers trying to sell them, and not for the businesses that rely on them. Every one of those trucks isn't just sitting there. It's costing someone money every single day, because dealerships don't actually own most of the trucks you see on their lots. They borrow money, millions of dollars, to keep inventory on display. These are called floor plan loans, and they work like massive credit cards for dealerships. When a truck arrives from the factory, it's already carrying interest, insurance fees, storage charges, and risk. Back when interest rates were 3% or 4%, this wasn't a big deal. Lots could hold trucks for months while waiting for buyers. But by late 2024, interest rates jumped to 9%, 10%, sometimes even 12%. That same truck, sitting unsold, now costs as much as $500 a month in interest alone. By day 60, it becomes a financial burden. By day 90, it's a liability. Dealers begin bleeding cash. They try selling it with small discounts, then bigger discounts, the end Black Friday discounts, and then what some insiders quietly call bloodbath pricing, below wholesale value, just to survive one more month. But there's a catch. At the 90-day threshold, lenders demand repayment, called curtailments, in massive chunks. If the dealer can't pay, the lender freezes their credit line, recalls inventory, or sends auditors to physically count, tag, and seize units. And once that letter arrives, the one that says final notice, everything changes. Because now, it's not about selling trucks, it's about escaping debt. Some dealerships, especially big franchise groups, can survive. They have cash reserves, they have leverage, they can negotiate. But the small town dealers, the family-owned lots, the ones run by people who still know their customers by name, they're on the edge of collapse. One dealer in Tulsa received a notice: repay $1.2 million in principal by Friday, or surrender every unit over 120 days old. Trucks listed for $62,000 just months ago are now selling at wholesale auctions for $44,000, an $18,000 loss per unit. You don't bounce back from that. And while dealers absorb those blows, the people who already bought trucks, the families making payments, the contractors using them for work, begin facing a different kind of crisis. A crisis of debt. Meet Jason and Maria from Des Moines. They bought a Ford F-150 in 2022, $54,000 sticker price, $4,800 down, 7-year loan at 8% interest. Jason used the truck for contracting work. Maria took the kids to school with it. They camped, hauled gear, lived life. But costs got higher. Insurance kept rising, gas spiked, and when Jason's work slowed, the payments became impossible. After 2 missed payments, they tried selling the truck, only to find buyers offering $30,000 for a truck they still owed $42,000 on. Upside down, no escape. They gave it back voluntarily. It wasn't just a vehicle loss. It was pride. It was a livelihood. Stories like theirs aren't rare. They're becoming normal. Marcus is in Nashville, repoed after 3 missed Silverado payments. Louise in Mesa. His Ram 1500 was taken from his driveway at dawn. All hard-working Americans who played by the rules, who bought the trucks that built houses, transported food, and kept small businesses alive. Now, their trucks sit at auctions, not because they're broken, but because the system is. And that's when the next phase of the storm begins. Every morning the tow trucks line up, not at dealerships, but at repo yards, massive facilities in Texas, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, packed with F-150s, Silverados, Rams, Sierras. Some are barely a year old, still smelling like new truck leather. By mid-month, repo yards overflow. They start renting farmland, abandoned parking lots, old airfields, any space large enough to store thousands of pickups. They're not just full, they're spilling over. The trucks aren't moving. Even auctions can't sell them fast enough. Wholesale prices begin collapsing. Trucks that auctioned for $39,000 last year barely reach $28,000 now. Some go unsold entirely, sent to transportation yards to wait for another auction, another bid, another loss. One auctioneer calls it the rolling flood, and behind every VIN is a person, a mom, a farmer, a carpenter, a small business owner, people who didn't just lose a vehicle. They lost their work tool, their tax write-off, their side income, their financial stability. But the collapse doesn't stop there, because when the trucks stop moving, so does everything built around them. Parts suppliers, tire shops, tow operators, technicians, customization specialists, tint shops, dent repair outfits. Every business built around supporting truck sales sees the lifeline cut. They start laying people off. A transmission rebuilder in Wichita loses half his dealer contracts in a single week. A family-run upholstery business in Indiana, in operation for 20 years, loses 60% of its monthly revenue. A mechanic in Oklahoma sees his shop go from full capacity to 50% in 2 months. This isn't just a truck market collapse. It's a small business collapse. And when the local small business collapses, the whole community feels it. But while all of this is happening, the repos, the auctions, the small-town job losses, corporate automakers, they aren't losing sleep because they already protected themselves. They shifted risk downstream, toward the dealers, toward the lenders, and eventually toward the buyers. The system wasn't built to protect the people who buy and sell trucks. It was built to protect the people who finance them. So what do we learn from this? The truck crisis was never just about discounts. It was never about inventory. It was always about debt. Debt on the dealership lot. Debt in the auction yard. Debt is in the driveway of hardworking Americans. And when debt becomes heavier than demand, even America's most trusted vehicle can turn from a symbol of pride into a symbol of pressure. So the question isn't how many trucks are being dumped. The real question is, when the system cracks, who gets left holding the keys?